What's going on, guys? This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Rio's Legacy. Rio's Legacy works with services that support children with life-limiting conditions, conducting fundraising activities and advocating for children and their families. And in the chat, we'll speak to Billy Smith, who is he's an advocate and he's also a representative of Rio's Legacy.
Just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar, brought to you by Grumpy Coffee. Go to grumpycoffee.com.au. Make sure to grab your coffee. We've got whole bean, we've got ground, we've got pods, we've got it all, and it arrives at your house 24 to 48 hours after ordering. Any issues, you contact our customer service. They'll make sure to take care of you. If there's any dramas. Guys, we have an 85 out of 100 cupping rate when it comes to our coffee, which is some of the best in the business in regards to mixed blends. So make sure to give us a try. High quality coffee. You will not be disappointed. But with that out of the way, got the big fella, Billy Smithy. How you going, bro?
Good man. Thanks for having me.
Very stoked to have you here, bro. How's the first of all, what's the vibe like this year? You guys are currently sitting 6th. I tell you what, even I'll put my hand up. Like, I think you guys have exceeded expectation. To be honest, I had you guys outside the 8 without Sammy Walker and Cheese. Mate, you guys have had an outstanding year.
Yeah, I feel like that was everyone's opinion, to be honest. Yeah. But no, the vibes are good. Obviously, when you're winning games with footy, it's a bit better. Yeah. But as I was saying, there's a good group of young guys at the minute who have a heap of energy, who bring good energy around their club, and we're enjoying it at the minute. And halfway mark of the season now, we're looking forward to a good run home, hopefully.
Yeah, and so in regards to the young fellas, obviously you're still 25, so relatively young. But mate, some of the young, obviously you've got guys like Vaketti coming in playing really well, Hugo's playing really well. Who's someone that you've just been so stoked to see them go from obviously reserve grade into the first grade, playing some good footy this year?
Oh, there are so many, man.
Yeah.
That's been the thing this year. Like, everyone who's come in has just stepped up and been so good for us. Like you mentioned, Celesi, obviously Fluffy Sab's been awesome. Steepy, guys like that, and Rob Toya,
bro.
You know what I mean? Like guys who hadn't even touched first grade last year and now not only playing first grade, but they're playing really well. And I guess that's been the story of our year.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see where these guys can get to, and us as a club, I suppose.
And just to rewind a little bit, Fluffy, like how do you get a nickname Fluffy Hugo?
I don't know. It's a good question. We'll have to ask him that one. I think one of his mates come up with it, but as soon as one of the boys heard it just stuck.
Okay, Fluffy. We need to get to the bottom of this, because that sounds like there's a story behind that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to hit him up. We'll have to find out after the show.
Okay, Fluffy. I like that. I seen his Instagram and I thought maybe it's just like a bit of a piss take with the thing on it.
It's his Instagram name, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And so I was like, maybe he's like just taking a piss, but the fact that it's actually his nickname. Okay, very interesting. We'll have to do some investigative journalism.
I hope I haven't stitched him up on that one.
No, it's his Instagram name, right? And what about yourself, mate? Like, we were speaking about before, we went live, but just like, mate, you're just playing footy. Like, you're just at the point, obviously you've got, I'm assuming you've got goals to be better and all that good stuff. But at the same time, sometimes you just got to stop and smell the roses. You're playing footy, you're playing good footy. What's it like for you this year?
Yeah, exactly. You hit the nail on the head, I suppose. There's always things you want to work on week in, week out. That's the life of a footy player. But I am just enjoying playing rugby, being fit and healthy. That's been a struggle of mine over the last few years, unfortunately. So after every week, there's stuff you want to improve on the footy field, but it is nice to just sit back and enjoy the week in, week outs of playing rugby league. It's what we get paid to do. I'm having fun.
And heading into this year, what was the because as I've already admitted, like, I think a lot of people were like, okay, a little bit of a rebuild year for the Roosters. They've lost all this experience, got a bunch of young guys, plus some of their key players in key positions that are injured. What was the preseason? What was the message from Robbo this preseason?
It wasn't so much about rebuilding. It was more about, like, there's a young group here. We understood there was a bunch of guys that moved on. No one was, no one disregarded that or forgot about that. We knew that there was a young group, but there was a lot of optimism and excitement. We had a really good preseason, and from that, I guess belief just grew. And as you said, like when older guys step out, it gives an opportunity for young guys to step in. And I feel like our young guys, led by our leaders, have done an awesome job on that. They've given them permission to be themselves and permission to be young dudes, which you can see by the way they play their footy, but also play a Roosters style. And I just think they're scratching the surface, some of these young guys.
When do you reckon it was beginning to click for you guys this year? Because you had a bit of a slow start. Brisbane came down red hot. But there's been two crazy wins for you. Obviously, the win against the Sharkies, where everyone was like, bro, where did that come from? All these players out. There's another, was it Brisbane again that you had a big win where you're missing a few people?
Yeah, we knocked off Brisbane at Suncorp, which is always tough to do.
Yeah.
And then I think even round 2 when the boys beat Penrith away.
Yes, that's it. Mate, walk us through the Penrith victory at the start of the year. Did that give you a lot of confidence? Like, oh, shit, okay.
Yeah, well, I was in rehab at that point.
Yeah.
But watching it, I was at home and jumping off my couch.
Yeah.
Just seeing, again, like you see people kind of get stuck into your club and get stuck into your players. So it's nice when the guys stand up and put on a bit of a show. And I feel like from that point on, that was a big, like, step in the right direction for us. Like, it gave so many of our young dudes confidence, as in like, oh, we can tussle with the best here.
Yep.
And I feel like from that point on, there's obviously been highs and lows, and I feel like from that point on, everyone's kind of had that belief. And so, yeah.
What about up in Brisbane? I remember there was one victory you guys had this year. I can't believe I'm forgetting, where Robbo was like, couldn't be more one of the happiest he's been in regards to victories. Might have been Brisbane. I definitely know the Sharkies was a massive win. What was the win up like in Brisbane? Yeah,
like playing the Broncos at Suncorp is always a tough ask. And you know what you're going to get, especially with the Bronx side. There's such quality.
Big pain up the front there.
Big pain up front, mate. Everywhere you look, there's strike.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, that was another moment for us to be like, oh, we're a good footy team when we can, when we can play our footy, we're a good side. And you leave those games with confidence. And I feel like, as you said, it kind of, after a win like that, you think to yourself, oh, like, we're all right. We can go here. We're doing pretty decent.
Yep.
So obviously you don't want to stop there and sleep on it, but it is nice to get those wins and give confidence amongst the group.
And but mate, the Sharkies won though. That was pretty special. So the Sharkies are flying high. You guys are missing honestly, what 6-7 starters, but maybe more.
Yeah.
You go into the game. Not only do you win, you get a big win. Well, you just walk us through that.
Well, Robbo's always pretty. He loves this time of year, the Origin period, because a lot of the time, so many of our Roosters, I think we have five this year.
Yeah.
5 Origin players, and unfortunately we have a few guys injured. Nat, Sammy, obviously. So he loves it. You get young guys who get to, again, like a theme of our year sort of thing. Young guys get to come in and I guess prove themselves or show themselves, and again, it brings so much energy. And I feel like we started that game with so much energy.
Yep.
And then again, like once you start a game, you score a couple of tries, you think to yourself, oh, we're good to go here.
Yeah, 100%.
And then that's how the game, we kind of just ended up rolling on with it. And I feel like that's really been the theme of our year, like young guys with good energy, starting games well. Now it's just about doing that consistently and not losing that like that energy bit where you just need to start games, have fun, enjoy it.
Yeah. It's crazy how much. Sometimes, obviously, we can make the game complicated for sure, but sometimes, really, if you've just got 17 blokes with a lot of energy, you can almost just blow teams off the park in that first 20 because you're just on another kind of, I guess, intensity. It matters, Yeah,
I think I was saying to you before, like we're a really well-connected crew. Everyone's really close. Everyone gets on, and I feel like that's infectious. Like everyone wants to play for one another, and I feel like that kind of shows in the way that we play our footy a little bit. Like everyone's supporting, everyone wants to get up and help the other guy out. And it's really fun to play in a team like that.
Yeah,
because as I said, it's infectious.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying the style of footy that we're playing at the moment.
And what about for you at the start of this year? Because you had a little bit of a hiccup, and you basically you had like Toya comes up playing well, and he started in round 1. I'm pretty sure. So you got Dom Young. You got Nwangiti Tuwase, yourself, obviously Tupou. So were you a little bit nervous, like, I've got to continue to fight for my spot here, because you guys have like essentially guns in each position, and at the start of this year it looked like one gun was going to be playing reserve grade. Was it a bit of or were you just like, I've been here before?
I feel like I have been there. I mean, throughout all my life at the Roosters, there's always been that that question mark and there's someone's going to be left out.
Okay.
And a lot of the time, to be honest with you, like the rugby league has a funny way of just figuring it out, whether that's injury or someone moves on or something like that. But yeah, there is always that. Like I started the year in rehab, and I see the boys get a really good win up against Penrith, and I'm there being like, they're doing pretty good here. But again, like you just got to have trust in the process, have belief in yourself. And things tend to work out.
And you reckon this year, if there's one area you guys need to work on, what do you reckon it is this year?
I think the biggest thing for us, as I said, we're a young crew with a lot of energy, but the one thing for us is probably just not getting too complacent and not getting too excited as a young crew, because we tend to throw the ball around, and that's the beauty of how we're playing at the moment, but not getting bored of, people speak about like the long game, not getting bored of that. Not getting bored of like kicking teams into corners and backing your D to get you home.
Because there's been a couple of games where you've got to about the 60-minute mark and you could close the game out, but just that youthful energy sometimes backfires a little bit.
Exactly. Like, I think there were about 3 or 4 games this year where, we've done enough to win the game essentially. But our own errors, whether it be our errors or silly offloads or stuff like that, have just cost us. And we've spoken about that as a crew. We know what our work-ons are, and that's why I'm looking forward to seeing how we can go if we, I suppose, can nullify that.
So take us back to a young fella. You're born in Sydney. Whereabouts in Sydney were you born?
So I was born in a house in Kensington, in the hospital, but I was living in Kensington at the time. And then I moved to Bronte pretty early on.
Yep.
And I've lived there, pretty much all my life. Grew up around there. So that's home for me. And where was it? Always rugby league, or you just multiple sports? See what I like. No, to be honest with you, not at all. It was. I grew up and I started playing. I got 2 older brothers, so I started playing footy as young as I could. I think I was about 4 when I started playing rugby, but it was rugby union. Yeah, okay. And I think I played a few years at league because that was, you could do contact playing rugby league. Rugby union at that age was just touch. So I got into league through that, and then I quit rugby league after, I think, under 10s or quite a young age, and just played union. I played school footy on Saturday. School footy on Saturday, and then school club footy on Sunday. And I did that throughout all because my school was a union school. Yeah, Scots. Scots. Yep. So that was a union school, and I did that until I graduated, really, until I signed with the Roosters. And so with the Scots side, did you always kind of make the first side, or were you in the second side? Like, were you an early bloomer, late bloomer? I played a few years in the first 15, which was nice. Yep. I love my school footy. Like at the time, like as I'm sure a lot of kids going through school are, like school footy was the be all and end all. Like you thought you were like the absolute man. And I feel like the GPS rugby is such a big competition. It's getting even bigger now because so many cross-coded guys play in it. Yep. But just then, like it was just like you forget how good it is. Like you're playing school footy with like your best mates. Yep. And I look back at that at some of my best footy memories. It's super. They do it so well. It's super interesting. But as soon as, rugby union, for some reason, as soon as people leave school, but there's still obviously pathways, I get it, but they just don't seem to handle that transition really well. Whereas league, as soon as you walk out of a school, there is like so many pathways for you to go to. Even in school, there's so many, all the NRL teams would have academies now of kids who, and they send their kids they send their athletes to private schools. Even at the Roosters, we have so many guys who are littered through those GPS schools. And when I was at school, that just wasn't a thing. There was maybe, when I was at school, I think Angus was one of the guys who'd gone to rugby league and Cam was the other one. There weren't many at all. There were a couple here and there, but few and far between sort of thing. But now, there's just so many players who play league but are sent to rugby union school. Interesting. So it might be the I guess, a lot of these schools, the education, the principles you get taught, the environment is quite good at these private schools as well. I think that's probably the biggest thing, the professional environment. I was really lucky when I left school and transitioned into full time. I was kind of half ready for it a little bit, just because of how professional the environment was at Scots. Because you would have been and I come through fucking decade earlier than you.
But I went to just a Catholic school. So like the idea of like Monday to Friday doing weights and all that kind of stuff just didn't exist to me. But to you, that's just like from year 10 probably
we
onwards.
were like 3 weight sessions a week, like 2 speed sessions, like training in the afternoon. Like we'd be at school at 6 and we'd get home till 8.
Yeah, wow. Wow, it does really teach you that.
Yeah, but you loved it. Like I loved it. I loved again. Like I obviously love playing footy, but I love going in there and training with some of my best mates.
Yeah.
And it's as I said, it set me up, but I also loved it, and it taught me that like I actually really want to do this when I finish school.
Yeah, it's you're right. Like it's all the little lessons that help that transition, and it's probably why guys like Suoli'i came out of school and everyone talks about his professionalism, and obviously it's his own account. Like he makes himself professional. It's not taking anyone else. But like as well as if you're in a good school, you're going to be taught all these lessons about professionalism, about what it takes to be a professional. Whereas if you're, at just a normal Catholic school like me, you're just not going to learn those kind of things. I'll never forget when and some people have heard this story, so sorry, but I'll never forget when I didn't play league growing up, I played soccer. And so in year 12, we went away with my school. It was just like a B comp, crappy, nothing. They've really improved it now. But I'll never forget. So our front row was like 85 kilos. We didn't do weights, nothing. We didn't even train. We just were a team that went to play footy together. And so we're in the B comp, this A comp. I think it was Clairvaux or something it was called. It was a league school in Brisbane. I'll never forget watching them get off the bus going, bro, they look like grown men. What's going on here? Like tattoos, 100 kegs, like jacked as anything. I'm going and I'm this little skinny, year 11 is going, what the hell is going on? But you've got these full programs there.
Yeah, well, mate, when I left school, when I went to the Roosters, because as I said, when I was playing school footy, it was still like a bunch of private school boys, like there weren't many Polynesian dudes running around. And so when I went to rugby league, I was like, oh, what am I doing? Like I'm a scrawny 17-year-old
these guys are
kid,
massive.
and these guys are huge.
Yeah.
But you're right. Now it's completely shifted. Now there's talent everywhere.
Yeah, and that's a scary thing. It's a good thing for league, but you get some of these, whether it's Tongan, Samoan boys with the same opportunity, get them in high school, and they can, have the same resources as yourself had or anyone that went to a private school. And that's how you get Suoli'i.
Yeah, exactly.
With these a genetic freak young guy that's 18 years old doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
So in school, how'd you go? Win anything? Any grand finals, anything like that?
Yeah. We I was really lucky. I went through a really good era at Scots. Who were I don't think from when I was in year 8 to year 12, I didn't see a Scots team lose.
Wow.
Yeah. So
no way.
Oh, there were so many good sides. Obviously Angus's team in 2014 were awesome. There's guys.
Do they have a statue of him at the school or what?
Yeah, no, they don't. They don't. But I'm sure his highlights video is probably still spoken about.
His highlight video is crazy, bro.
Yeah, he still shows us at the club sometimes. So his school, his team, obviously, and then I was lucky enough to win a couple of premierships in my final couple of years at school as well. It was that's what I'm saying. I was just such a cool experience because I mean I don't know how they're going these days, Scott. I probably need to keep more tabs, but
mate, too good for him now, eh?
No way. I love going back and watching them. Just gives you all these memories and reminds you of how good it was.
Do you sometimes look back and go, gee, I didn't appreciate how good life was then? Winning comps with the boys, no stress, no bills, just living
all the time.
Yeah,
all the time. Even just yes, you're right. Like footy's awesome now, and I love it. But you're right. There is that different, there's a lot more on the line these days as opposed to back then. You're just playing it because you love it.
Yeah, and so. At what point did you start going, there's leagues and opportunity here? How come you didn't go into uni?
Yeah, so in my final, honestly, I was union all the way throughout school and even in my final year. And it was honestly in the last half of my final year at school, the Melbourne Storm actually approached a coach of ours in the team, and he just kind of mentioned it to me that the Storm was somewhat interested and what was my interest. And at the time, I kind of wasn't. I hadn't played the game in 10 years. Yeah. So I wasn't that interested, and I went home, and my old man was like, "Oh, mate, give it a go. Just what's there to lose? Go and
see what
hear
happens."
them out, sort of thing." So they were awesome. They flew me me and my old man down for the weekend, and I think they rolled out the red carpet sort of thing. They put me in the crown. They like met Bellamy. At the time it was Cooper, Cam, and Billy,
no way.
and I was there like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, wow.
And then and I think they may have played the Rabbitohs, and they beat them by like 60 points.
Oh no.
And I was like, this club is crazy, and like they got me in the team song after, and
No way. Full red culture.
Yeah. They were awesome, and
Yeah.
I kind of left, and I was like, wow, like that's a pretty cool environment. And then sure enough, the Roosters came knocking as well, and I was kind of like surprised because I was okay at school, but I wasn't a Sawali or a Gussie or anything like that. So I was just stoked to kind of have people interested, I suppose. And so I went and met the Roosters. I actually went and met the Roosters and the Waratahs on the same day. At the time, they were at the old SFS. They were right next to one another.
Yeah.
So I literally like walked in and I met with Robbo, Nick, and I met with the club, and then I went over and met with the Waratahs. And I guess from that point on, I was just so impressed by Robbo and the club, and I suppose I was a local boy, and they saw a lot of value in that. And I kind of left those two meetings, and I thought to myself, oh, maybe rugby league is the go. And I still wasn't quite sure. I think like my heart was telling me that, you should go and do this, like give it a go.
Yeah.
It was kind of, as I said, it was the unknown a little bit because there weren't many players who'd gone from union to league. It was very much so like if you were playing rugby union, you'd go to the junior Waratahs or whatever it was. And so I kind of over the next couple of weeks thought, just gonna give it a go. But it's actually a funny story. I used to do all my training I used to train a lot down at the stadium gym. Yeah. And like, when you go, like I left Melbourne and they gave me some merch. Like as I was leaving, mate, here's some training tops and some shorts. And
you're stoked.
Mate, I was like, this is the best. You wear it around the house and whatnot. And I just spoke to the Roosters, and I was in the midst of like making my decision. I kind of knew that I was wanting to go to the Roosters, but I hadn't told the club yet.
Okay.
And I was training at the stadium gym, and I think it was around finals time, and the Roosters were in the finals, and I was wearing my Storm training shorts at the stadium gym, and I was like thinking, when you're in school, you're the man, and I was leaving, and as I was leaving, I seen the whole Roosters team walking for their captain's run or something. And I'm like wearing these Storm shorts, like, oh my goodness. And I was walking out, and all the players look at me like, nice shorts, mate. Sort of thing.
Oh, no way.
And Robbo's at the back, and I look at him, he's like, and as he is like so polite and so forward, he's like, hey mate, how you going? Like, look forward to hearing from you sort of thing. And like he looks at me, looks at my shorts, he's like, and I was like, they're going to rip up this contract. Anyway, so I got back to the car straight away, got on the phone to my manager, and I was like, I'm signing that contract today.
Oh, no way.
And sure enough, like I was like in my best way trying to say, mate, I know, like don't worry. Like, anyway, so I ended up signing the contract with the Roosters. Oh, that Arvo probably. And
mate, you were that rattled. Mate, I can understand why that
I was
rattled.
like, these guys are going to hate me when I come in next year. But mate, and then signed the Roosters at Arvo and never really looked back.
What about the timing of that? Like that, that changed your whole lot. Like who knows what, like let's say you didn't sign that Arvo, like who knows what could have happened.
I think I was always going to, I think as soon as I left the meeting with the Roosters, I was pretty set on it. But you're right, like sliding doors on it sort of thing.
That's crazy.
I feel like a bit of an idiot to be honest. Yeah, but it all worked out for the best.
It all worked out, absolutely. And so what do you reckon, like why, like it seems like, okay, I had this feeling in my heart to go to league, but that's such a huge call to just change sports. Like I know people like to say, oh, it's not that big. It's a big change. It's a big change, especially when you're in one of the best teams in the GPS playing union. Why do you reckon was so appealing about league, or at the very least, what do you think union didn't do as well as league in those meetings?
I think like Robbo was a big part. Like his meeting was really important, and then I think just the pathway. At the time, I think they're doing it better now, but at the time there wasn't much of a pathway. I kind of spoke to the Roosters, and they were like, "Yep, full time. Like we want you. We see you playing first grade in the next couple of years." And then I met with the Waratahs, and they were kind of like, "Oh yeah, mate, you'll kind of be in our 20 system, and then you'll see you playing first grade in 4 or 5 years from now." And not that that's a bad thing, because I wasn't expecting them to come to me and say, "Mate, you're in next week." Or anything like that. I just thought the pathway was a lot clearer. I as I said, when I left that meeting, I was kind of just like, I think this is probably the way forward for me.
You know what? I don't want to be, because I know you've got probably a soft spot for Union as well, and I don't want to be harsh on them at all. But the tough thing for Union was that's the same story that Crichton told.
Yeah.
That they basically were like, probably in a few years or something. And it was a very similar feeling of like, I love Union, but I don't really feel a very clear direction of what's going to happen here. And it's awesome that they fixed it. It really is. But it clearly seems like a problem the game has had for a few years before obviously it being fixed. Because like, as I said, although it sounds all, you hear all the great stuff, you're changing sports. Like it's a huge, huge deal. So hopefully Union can sort that out. Because, mate, I'm of the belief that both codes are better when both codes are strong. Me personally, because if you've got Union competing with NRL, you're making sure there's a competitor there to bring us to a higher level. Whereas if we just let's say rugby league just dominates and we've got, only rugby league in Queensland, New South Wales, we've got no competitor to make us better.
Yeah. I think they've definitely changed it.
Yeah.
I think even like Big Sue going back to Union's
huge,
like a big nod for them.
Yep.
And like I think he's been a big difference for them. Even this year, like I've been interested to see how the Waratahs are going and seeing how Rugby Union are going. I'm looking forward to watching the Lions series because of him, really. So I think that's been a big change. I do think they've changed the pathway a little bit because, as I said, like it kind of snowballed after Angus, and then a lot of other people kind of decided to do the same thing, and they kind of realised that we probably need to change our tactics a little bit.
That's good. That's good to hear. But anyway, so you signed that deal with the Roosters, and do you remember, your first kind of pre-season with them and all that? Because it was what, 18? 19?
It was 17 going into 18.
Yeah, wow. So it was special 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, it was. It's the same year that Teddy and Coops and they went there. It was the hardest thing in my life. It was so hard. I remember like all my mates, because we just finished school, like all my mates like getting on the piss on Friday, Saturday, and I was just like, I really wanted to, but I was just like, no, you can't, because training was just so hard. And I remember being like, this is the stupidest decision of my life. But as I said, that for me was like, welcome to rugby league. Like this is what they're about. Like it's not all sunshines and roses. Like
it's
like
tough.
You see on TV, like it is a tough game.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably like the biggest introduction, that first preseason.
Yeah, it's funny because the first preseason for most of the better clubs, it's actually all about breaking down the rookies and then rebuilding them up. It's about saying, first of all, when we do break you down, how do you react to that? Do you sook or do you just keep turning up? But second of all, let's rebuild you back up in the version that is going to be able to withstand, NRL. Yeah. And so it sounds like they got you good. Now, do you remember any sessions? Did you do any army stuff or not really, you guys?
I remember our first year we went on a Queenstown camp.
Okay,
So we went on a Queenstown camp. We've done it a few times, but I do remember this first one being like just so difficult. And I think because the squad was so strong, because there was guys like Boydo, Coops, and like the squad was so good, the standard was so high. Yeah. Like not just the standard of footy, but the standard of living. Like turning up to training each day, each training session was a, Mate,
when you got Boyd Corner as your leader, you're not going to be dropping.
Yeah, and like it ended up being a really good thing because it taught you some really, really good things. But I just remember that camp being like so difficult. And I remember thinking to myself, like, how am I going to do this for the next few years? But no, it was, as I said, it was some really good lessons.
Yeah, it is. Especially like you're at the time you didn't know it, but you're walking into the first back-to-back in like 20 years or whatever. And the funny thing about like those kind of squads that are high quality, like that Rooster squad 18, 19 was so good that like, it's almost like the coach doesn't even need to set the standard because everyone's making sure, like, I just think of my own time in the early 2000s with the Broncos. Like, I never recall Wayne Bennett coming in being like, fuck, boys, you better fucking do this. It was all the senior players going, if you don't do it, fucking beat it kind of thing.
Exactly. Mate, that was exactly the same.
Yeah.
Do you know, you look at the leadership group there with like Boydo, Kiri, Jazza, Teddy, Orbo, Nug, like so many like greats of our game. Yeah. Like Robbo didn't have to say much really. Yeah. And it was just like, you didn't want to let those guys down. Like I was still a fan at that point. Like I was still in awe of these guys. And so, yeah, like they drove the standards.
Yeah.
And they did for 18, 19, all until they all finished up, really.
Yeah.
And obviously Teddy's still driving them today.
Yeah, absolutely. And so is there any session you remember of maybe Boydo or one of the boys where they, maybe Hargreaves or whatever, they just went at it kind of thing, a wrestling sesh or...
You know, I remember that wrestling was always the tough one, but I remember... I remember Trell and Fergo always going at it and wrestle. And I remember like if there were ever like groups of 2 or 3, I'd always try and avoid those 2 boys because they were just 2 big specimens,
so big,
strong
bro.
as,
Yeah,
and they would
yep.
just go like they were just so hard and aggressive. And I was just like, oh. I actually remember one day being teamed up with them and like they were in this drill and they were going hard as, and they almost got in like a bit of a blue. Yeah. And I was like, all right, next man up. And I was like, what? I was like, oh, but again, like it teaches you good things that, you know what I mean? Because like they finish the session, sub each other up, and it's just like,
It's all good.
that's the standard. Like
Yeah,
that's what we do.
Yeah, it's funny that, you know, maybe not in every like high performance team, but like even at the Broncos, like sometimes there'd be a bit of push and shove. Like that was just the intensity at which everyone was training. Like,
Happens all the time.
Yeah,
happens all the time.
absolutely.
I tell people think like, what? Like,
it's crazy. You hate each other. No, you don't hate each other. It's just the
nah,
intensity at
not
which you're
all.
working.
It's how I feel like you get the best out of each other.
Absolutely. So that first year, I guess that transition, was there any part of you that was like, oh, like maybe this was the wrong one? Or once you got there, yes, it was hard, but you were like, I'm all in. I love this.
I loved it. It was hard. It was really difficult. And I think, like as I said, like seeing a lot of your mates from school like go out and enjoy finishing school, that was difficult because like you know, I had a great group of mates at school, and I loved hanging out. I loved hanging all that sort of stuff. They all went to Europe the following year, and I was kind of just at home. At that time, the Roosters feeder club was Wyong, and mate, they were actually an awesome club, but every Friday we'd have to travel an hour and a half up to Wyong to play reserve grade.
Yeah.
And so like, I loved the group, I loved the footy, but that was, you know,
you're a young man.
It was a bit of a mission.
Yeah.
But I think again, like it just taught you to love the game as opposed to everything else around it. Like you're not going to walk into these clubs and be playing first grade straight away. It's just not how it works for a lot of people. So it taught me some really good lessons, and it made me work really, really hard to get in a position to play first grade.
And so did you play any first grade trials that year, or no, just reserve grade trials?
No, I think I played a trial game at the end of my first preseason. I think I got on for like 10 minutes of the trial game. But again, like, man, I was raw as like I remember my first trial game. I think it was maybe I may have played like the full game of 20s and then like 10 minutes of first grade. But I remember my 20s, first game of 20s, I got like 4 played the ball penalties because I wasn't playing the ball at all. I was just like rolling it, and I was like, oh god, I look like a rookie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess coming from Union, you had just that natural when you're in the heat of battle kind of thing.
Just, by then, I was just like, oh, what am I doing?
And so what's weird is sometimes the first trial you do with first grade is almost more nerve-wracking than your debut, because like you've never been around the boys like this before a game. You're sitting in the locker room looking across, like they're so big and like adults, and you're just this little teenager. Yeah. Do you remember anything from your first trial, that 10 minutes at all, or just?
Not really. I remember just like running around like a headless chook for 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was the back end of a trial game, and like a lot of the senior guys had gone off, and it was just. But I remember just thinking to myself, like, this is pretty cool. Like, you know, I got to put on the Roosters jersey for the first time, which was a really cool experience. And I remember thinking to myself, like, this is a bit of ammunition to, you know, to keep going and keep working hard.
Yep. So that year you went straight into New South Wales Cup?
Yeah. So I think I played 1 or 2 20s games, and played the rest of the year in reserve grade.
And did Robbo say, you know, we're going to put you into New South Wales Cup because we want to see you against men? Like, what was the conversation like?
I don't think he said. I think he just. I'm sure we had those conversations, but I think from the get-go, he was like, I want you to learn rugby league against men as opposed to playing 20s.
Yeah, okay.
And as I said, like I had such a good year. I got on a lot with that group of boys. I had such a good year playing for Wyong, and it was a really good team actually. I think we ended up going like second week of the final. I unfortunately did my first ACL in one of the first one of the first finals games.
Yeah, wow.
But that year, like I learned a lot about rugby league.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think that, you know, you sometimes we don't appreciate the fact that it is essentially your first year of league in a decade.
Yeah.
And like you just kind of assume, oh, you'll be right, but it's like it is a different game. It really is a different game.
Yeah, it is.
So you get through that year, everything's going great for you, and so I'm sure you look back on it and go, geez, life was carefree back then. Then you do your first ACL.
Yeah.
Was the mentality, oh, you know, I'm indestructible, I'll be right, like, or was it like, oh my God, what's happened?
Mate, I actually didn't know what an ACL was at that point.
Wow.
Which is funny because now, like, I know
It's
everything about it. But yeah, I remember it was a pretty bad injury. I remember someone sitting on my knee, and I just folded over.
Yeah.
And I had actually like dislocated my knee, as opposed to not the actual kneecap, the actual knee itself. So I was lying on the ground in a heap of pain, and I wasn't sure what was wrong. And my knee was kind of bent up, and the doc came on, and the doc's like, "Can you straighten your leg?" And I said, "No, I can't." And he kind of straightened, and as he was straightening, I was like, "This is so painful." And all of a sudden, it went like, "Clunk." And I was like, "Oh," and I was kind of like, "Oh, this actually doesn't feel too bad. This feels all right."
Yeah.
And he tested it, and the hands-on tests they do, you see a lot. And he kind of took me off, and he's like, "Oh, I think it's your ACL." And I'm like,
what's that?
"Isn't there AC in your shoulder?" Like, I wasn't actually quite sure what it was.
I didn't know what it was too when I started playing league. So
and then obviously I learned pretty quickly what it was and the the extremity of it.
When they told, because when you don't know what the ACL was and they say it's 6 to 9 months, are you going, nah, like sure, like when you get that news, what was it like?
Yeah, I was like, this is probably as bad an injury as it gets, and I've now learned that like it is one of the worst ones. Because as a young kid, like I was like getting to a point at the back end of that year where I was really starting to like not just play, but like start to like
impact games.
Impact games a little bit and play good footy. And I think the club were really happy with where I was. I think I may have played 20s Origin that year.
Yeah.
So I was like finding some momentum, I suppose. And it was literally the last few weeks of the year, and then I was ready to have a really big pre-season heading into the 19 season. And it kind of just got ripped away.
Far out.
And it was my first taste of, I suppose, like a bit of adversity.
Yeah, absolutely. So coming through the grades in school, did you have many injuries or not really?
I had a couple here and there, but nothing like that.
Yeah.
I think I'd done like a small Cindy when I was in my final year at school, but I wasn't too bad.
Yeah. So when you signed with the Roosters, was it a 2-year deal initially?
I forget. I think it was a 2-year deal. Yeah, it was. It was a 2-year deal. I think it was a 2-year development deal.
And was there any advice that you got from someone in the first grade or coaching or whatever that really helped you through that first ACL?
I was lucky. Like as I said, it was Teddy's first year at the club, and we kind of got on straight away. He was a superstar by this point, and
he'd already been through so much.
Yeah, and he'd done so much. I think he was playing Origin at this point. He was kind of the man, but it was awesome for me. Like and Boyd was another guy. Like just so many guys who were because at the time, and I had no idea like how bad injuries were or what to do or how to come back from them or anything like that.
Create rehab, like
all that sort of
rehab?
stuff.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, like that first rehab, I didn't really know what I was doing as well. Like I kind of just like, as you do is when you're a young kid, you kind of just take it day by day and just wing it and just see how you go. Like I just relied on the club a whole lot as opposed to putting it on myself. And yeah, it was.
It's a really good lesson in professionalism. I feel like when you're young and you're super talented, you just do whatever the club tells you. Whereas when you actually become a professional, you realise it's on you to make sure that away from
That was probably the biggest thing for me. Like I relied for my first few years of the Roosters, and even all through all the injuries I had. Like I just relied on the club, and it wasn't until my final ACL, my third one, where I remember just like sitting back in and throughout all these injuries, whether it be my knee, my shoulder, or whatever it was, like I remember like doing it and thinking to myself, oh, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then like push comes to shove, you get into the rehab process, and like I didn't end up changing anything. I just got back to what I knew, which was like rely on the club, all this sort of stuff. And I remember like I did my third ACL up at Gosford in 2022, and I remember sitting in the car on the way home from that trip, and I remember just not being like sad because of the injury, but just being so frustrated in myself because I hadn't done all the things I said I was going to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's what pissed me off the most, because I was just like how can you expect change to happen when you're not going to change anything yourself?
Yeah.
And I think that was a really big moment in my career, to be honest. Yeah. It forced me to rethink a lot of the things I was doing outside of rugby. And yeah, I think that was probably the biggest shift in my career, to be honest.
Yeah, it's funny. It happens. It's every young man goes through it where they rock up and they just rely on, okay, I'm doing enough if I'm just doing what the Roosters tell me to do. That's enough. But it's not till you get to like 23, 24, you start to realise that's not enough. If you're actually professional, it's your whole life. Yeah. Mate, I was the same. And it sounds silly, but it's even like I remember going to, like, when I got to about 23, 24, I'd promise myself by that stage, I'd get into preseason, I'm like, I'm going to win. Every fitness session I do, I'm going to go as hard as I possibly can. Every gym session, my 10th rep is going to be as strong as my first rep. And until you hold yourself accountable to those things, you're never going to be the best version of yourself.
I always worked really hard. Like I was never the sort of dude who
cut corners and
cut corners or did things half-assed, which is what I think like the Roosters kept me around because I knew that I was willing to work hard. But it was just the little things like
extra stuff.
Yeah. Like I said, I was going to change the way I ate, the way I slept. You know, like I was going to start doing Pilates. All these different things that I said I was going to do, and I just didn't do.
Yeah.
And that's what, like as I said, that's what frustrated me because I kind of was in the car thinking to myself, like, don't feel sorry for yourself, like. How do you expect things to change if, you know, as I said, you're not going to change for yourself? And
you've also got that question in your mind. It's probably not true, but the small question of, if I had done those things, would have this happened?
Exactly,
I don't know.
Exactly. Like, and that's been the biggest thing for me, like over the last couple of years after I kind of made those changes is like, I live my life now not worrying about what's going to happen because I know that I'm ticking every box I can possible, going into games and going to training sessions, and things might not work out. Yeah. But I'm okay with that because I know that I'm still ticking every box.
Yeah, and that's just like fate. That's out of your hands.
Exactly. And it's a good way to live because you're not relying on certain things. Like you're doing everything you can in your power to be the best possible like person and player you can be. And if things don't work out, then that's life. Things don't work out for a lot of people.
100%. And you're still better off than 95% of the world.
Exactly.
So the first one hits. What was that period like for you though? Was there any dark periods or was it that youthful energy of like, nah, I'll be back. I'll be sweet.
Yeah, it was dark. The first couple of months, obviously, like my first major surgery and the pain and all that sort of stuff. But I was still living at home and, you know, like mum was still doing my washing and cooking for all that sort of stuff. So I was kind of lucky. But after like 3 or 4 months, you kind of get in the rhythm of rehab and you start to like, running again now. I'm doing some ball skills. How'd you go
with, because I'm assuming before there's rehab, then there's rehab, and rehab is you're getting towed up. Yeah. How'd you go with that mentally?
My first knee rehab, I was actually with Ryan Hall had just come to the club, and he was awesome. He'd just done his knee, and so we spent the entire. I think we may have been like a month apart. He was a month ahead of me, so we spent the entire rehab together. And like I'm a 19-year-old pest, and he's just like veteran of the Super League, on all time, and he's such a good fella too. And we just like, I probably annoyed the hell out of him, to be honest, but like I probably kept him young at the same time. Such an intelligent guy, and I was just like every day I'd come in and he made that rehab really enjoyable for me.
Okay, because he'd probably been there and done it.
He'd been there and done it, and I feel like throughout all my rehabs I've had someone, but I do remember that first time with Hawley just being pretty good.
Yeah, because that's the one thing that coming from soccer where I had never had any real injuries, syndesmosis, but that was like 2 weeks out, I'm good to go. And with soccer, like because I hadn't any long injuries, even with soccer, we didn't really even do fitness because all our training was fitness. And I couldn't believe when I got to league that if you're injured, you're training harder than if you aren't injured. And it was like couldn't get through my head. Like when I was younger, I was just told when you're injured, you rest. And maybe it's a generational thing, but I was just so shocked at the fact that you're getting more towed up in rehab.
I probably didn't learn that early on. I probably learned that as unfortunately the more rehabs I went through. Whereas like now, like I know that like if like when you're in rehab, like you need to be working harder than the people who aren't in rehab. Because absolutely. You need to be getting yourself right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do wish I had learned that earlier on.
Oh mate, it just hit me like a ton of. Because like it's almost in my head, I was trying to get through the point of like I'm already getting punished because I can't play on the weekend, and you're punishing more. I didn't you know what I mean? But it's just part of it. It's just
when you're training for a game, you're like, you know what the reward is to play at the end of the week. But when you're training for rehab, you're
grinder.
Like, what do I?
Mate, watching the boys out there training, you're just on the grind again. All right, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the first one you get through, How'd you come out of it? Was you a bit tentative physically, or what was it like?
It's probably as like at the time was as strong as and as fit as I've felt. I came in that year. Our feeder club was North Sydney.
Yep.
And like Jason Taylor was the coach, and we had a really good like team. We had like Lockie Lamb was playing in the halves, and Matty Cavallo at the time. So like we had a really good roster, a really good team, and I got on with everyone. And so like I did the year before, like I probably came back like around 14 or 15 of that next year, and straight away like I felt older, I felt stronger, I felt bigger, and I really enjoyed that year. That 2019 year was really good because
This is your debut too?
I ended up debuting later that year. But as I said, like I was just loving my footy, loving playing with the team. I think I was a bit young and naive, but it was a good year.
And so you're playing footy. Was the debut expected out of nowhere? What was it like?
So like for like I remember like 2 or 3 weeks in a row, like Trell had, because obviously Latrell was the left centre at the Roosters, and he had like a niggling calf. So for like 2 weeks before I actually debuted, like Robbo was like, mate, Trell's, not how sure he's going to pull up, yada yada. We'll see how you go. So just be ready. And then sure enough that week, he was sweet to play. Next week, same thing. Like, we're not sure how Trell is. We'll see how he goes. Gets the captain's run. Nah, he's sweet, go. And then the third week happened, and he's like, and then I think Robbo probably felt a bit sorry for me in a way. And Trelly still had that calf. And it got to captain's run, and I seen him like running around, like testing it. And I was looking at him, like trying not to like let him know I was looking, because like I didn't want him to like think that I was.
You wanted him to
But Robbo kind of came up to me, gave me a hug, and he's like, mate, I'm gonna play her.
Oh, how cool.
Mate, it was just such a surreal moment. It's kind of for the last 4 or 5 years, everything that I'd wanted.
Yeah.
And to hear it was going to happen in the team that was playing, it was just like crazy.
I try to explain to the audience sometimes, like the intensity at which you obsess over that debut, it's like nothing you've ever had in your life. And so when someone does it, like imagine telling, like let's say you've got this obsession and you've had it for, let's just say 10 years. And then on the 10th year, someone says to you, you've done it. It is like, honestly, it makes you so happy. You're like, I could almost die happy, at least in that moment. And then obviously, once you get your debut, you're like, I want to stay here, which is, it happens to every single debutant. What happened for you? How did it feel for you leading into it?
Because like, unlike like a lot of people, like growing up, it wasn't like my dreams and stuff weren't of me playing rugby league. It was a lot of time was for the Wallabies and stuff like that. So although it wasn't, but it was always to play professional rugby. Yeah. And I feel like playing NRL, like at the time for me, was like the pinnacle of professional rugby. So like when I found out, like it wasn't so much that like, this is the moment I'm dreaming for my whole life, but I felt like I had like climbed the mountain that I'd been searching for the last few years, or for like my whole life pretty much.
Yeah, no, I'm the same, mate, because I played soccer. My dream was to play for Manchester United. Yeah. But it just replaces, it's the same thing, it's just a different sport.
Yeah, and I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like, it was a really special time, because obviously I'd been through the ACL and like I'd worked through a bit of adversity, and it was just like a really nice. It was towards the back end of the year, and it was a really nice like reward, I feel like, for like the hard work that I put in. I again, like the squad at the time was so strong.
Just won a premiership. I actually forgot to ask you. So you would have done your ACL and been doing your rehab while they win comps.
Yeah. So I was stuck in a knee. My first ACL, I was in a knee brace for like 8 weeks. 4 weeks because of the MCL, and then because I'd done my MCL, ACL, I'd done everything in my knee. Yeah. It was like a car crash. So like I was in a knee brace for 8 weeks. So like I was in a knee brace all the way up until the grand final. And then the day after the grand final, I had my knee reco.
No way.
Yeah. So the boys on the comp on the Sunday, and then the Tuesday morning, I was on the operating table.
What?
Yeah. So
it shows you just how much the club is about. The number one priority is playing rugby league, not celebrating.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely that. I mean, to be honest, like I was young as I hadn't played or anything like that, but I was kind of like watching from afar, being like, that looks like a pretty fun thing to do.
Is there any feeling that you could have that was in the club leading up to that first grand final that you can talk of? Obviously, that was the Cooper Cronk broken shoulder. Or was that 19?
No, that was a Cooper's broken shoulder year.
And then Keary, 19 had the syndesmosis, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, like, again, I was super young and I was injured at the time. And so, like...
You're a bit out of the bubble kind of thing.
I was a little bit out of the bubble in the 18 grand final. And even with the Coop stuff, like, I didn't even know if he was going to play or not.
That's crazy.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
I was going into training and whatnot, but it was kept so under wraps. I think, like, the players only figured out, like, you hear stories of the players only finding out, like, captain's run of Coop saying, like, oh, I'm good to go here, boys. So I had no idea. But, yeah, the buzz around the club was just, like... To be honest with you, it's a bit funny because like my first years of the club were 2 back-to-back premierships, so I didn't really know much different.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I start to appreciate and realize how special those weeks and those days were.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was as weird as it sounds. It was
Mate,
kind of all I knew.
It's the same with me. So my first grade time with the first grade squad, we won the comp in 2006, and I remember almost being like, oh, okay, I'll come down and train with the before the grand final. They asked a few of us Rezzies to come down and hold pads and just be there to help with the boys. And like, I remember being, oh yeah, I'll come down. But now I look back at it and I'm like, what a fucking privilege to hold pads for Darren Lockyer, you know, Webkey, all the boys. But at the time, you're so young, you're just like, oh yeah, sweet, like it's all good.
Oh man, I still think about that. Like I think back to the team I was lucky enough to debut in with, like, you know, Beamos, Cooper, Kiri.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Boydo,
red
Jake
hot.
Friend, Orbo, like guys like that. And I even like look back on. Someone showed me a highlight clip the other day of me scoring my first try, which was on debut, and like Coop's been the first one to give me a hug.
That's mental.
And at the time, like I was like, yeah, that's cool.
It's
but
the boys, yeah.
Yeah. But as I get a bit older, I kind of realised that how special it was.
Yeah. So sorry, you make your debut. Walk us through the week of that, how that all come about.
Well, I didn't know that I was playing until captain's run. So
Okay,
literally
captain's
24 hours
Wow.
before kickoff. And Robbo said, oh mate, keep it under wraps.
Did you tell your mum and dad though?
Well,
or?
yeah. I told mum and dad and about 40 of my mates. I said, okay, yeah, so mate, I'll keep it under wraps. Mum, dad, you keen? And then, but yeah, pretty much he told me about 24 hours before kickoff and captain's run. And yeah, as I said, kept it under wraps. So I wasn't really allowed to like tell a heap of people or anything like that, but I did send a message to like my like inner circle and just said, oh,
I'm in.
If you guys want to come, like I'm playing tomorrow night, yada yada. And yeah, it was pretty surreal. I remember the day we had a day camp out at I think we were playing the Dragons at Jubilee, and we had a day camp that day, and I remember like usually you'd room with someone. And I at the time I was getting a bit nervous for games, as you do, and usually like you have a roomie to like bounce off and
stuff.
Just chat to, and I was gonna be tubes. Anyway, I get to my room and I have a room to myself.
Oh,
so I remember just sitting in the room for like 4 hours, just like.
And so for people listening, a day camp is basically you rock up in the morning and you stay all the way till the game at night.
So we had a 7:30 kickoff.
Yeah.
We were out there at like 11:30 or whatever for a team walk, then lunch, and then 4 hours. A lot of the boys sleep or do whatever they need to do before team meeting, then into the game.
Yep.
And yeah, I was just sitting in my room, like not a chance I was sleeping.
No,
I was just sitting
way.
there like running through every possible scenario that was going to happen in the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty. I do remember that day pretty well.
And so you're about to run on. You're looking across from yourself. It's about to happen. How you feeling?
I was nervous, man. I remember like my legs just being really heavy and like freaking out a little bit.
Nervous
like,
energy just flushing through you.
Yeah. But then it's funny, like once you get out there, it's just footy. Yeah. So once it kicked off and you got playing, I was just like, oh, this is all right.
Do you remember your first run or anything like that? Being like,
I do. I remember it was a yardage carry.
Yeah.
I remember just thinking like, don't put any footwork on, just truck it.
Just go. Yeah, go hard.
I remember I got smacked pretty hard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but once that happened, I was like, all right,
I'm in the game.
Yeah, I'm in the game now. Let's go.
And so you said you scored on debut?
Yeah, I was lucky enough. I didn't have to do much, to be honest. I just short side, Kiri gave to Ted, and I just ran on the inside of him for support, and was lucky to score.
What's that feeling like going over?
Crazy. I think I threw the ball up and carried on a little bit. But, I was just I was just a kid like living out his dream sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think we were up like, I think it was like 30-0 at half time, or 26-0 or something at half time. Wow. And I was thinking,
oh, what a dream debut.
How easy is this? And then the second half came along and they kind of came back a little bit. It was a bit of a rank second half, but ended up being pretty good.
So did you re-sign that year for did you extend?
Yeah, so throughout that 2019 year, I think I signed a 2-year extension. And Yeah, so I think that was to keep me in the club until the end of 2021 or something like that, which was awesome. Like as soon as I came to the Roosters, like I loved it. I loved the club. I loved the people in it, and I really had no intentions of going anywhere else. I think it's been like the story of my career. Really, like I've never really
considered.
Like,
so 2020 though rolls around and you do another ACL in pre-season training.
Yeah.
Remember that moment?
Yeah, I do. So after 2019 year, I think Trell had left and Robbo was kind of like, oh, you know, that I want that left centre spot to be yours. And I was like, this is everything, you know, you kind of dream of or have been dreaming of. And it kind of been like a bit of a bumpy preseason. Like I kind of had a couple hammy niggles and just a few little things that like hadn't been smooth sailing. Like I hadn't done every session. And I remember like it was like a week before we were meant to fly out because we were playing the World Cup. Obviously the boys won the comp the year before. And we were meant to fly out to for the World Cup Challenge the week after. And just in a tackle, got tackled and my knee kind of buckled in. And it wasn't like the first one was very much like something's wrong here, where the second one was like, oh, like something happened, but I wasn't sure what. And I kind of got up and I kept training for like 5 minutes, and then like because it was the end of the session, and I was like, oh, it felt a bit funny, but I was hopping on it, and like, I was like, the physio's like, oh, you should be all right. Anyway, I got back to the club and they're like, oh, we'll just scan it just in case because we're not sure about the test. And I was like, oh, surely not. But they said to me, like, mate, you should be fine. I ended up doing weights, ended up back squatting and stuff. So I thought,
holy.
And they were like, mate, you'll be fine. If you can do that, you won't be your ACL. Oh. Anyway, sure enough, bro, I get the scan back and it's, you know, like worst nightmare sort of thing.
So you wouldn't have been ready for when they hit you.
I remember walking in and I knew one of the guys in there who was doing like the radiography, and he said, oh, what are you doing? I said, oh, no, just getting a checkup on my knee. He said, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, just getting a checkup. I think it's fine though. And he said, oh, come and see me when you're done. And so sure enough, I got the scan done. And as I'm walking out, he's walking out of his like appointment with his patient or whatever. And he says, oh, come and have a look. And I was like, yeah, sweet as. Which is, now that I think back on it, it's not like that normal.
Yeah, it's not that normal.
Yeah, but I walk in and he says, sits me down, and he looks at it and he kind of just said, yeah, it's your ACL.
Shit.
And I was kind of like, mate, it can't be. Like, I was in denial a little bit.
Was he a bit surprised too? Because he probably expected.
Oh, he was just gutted for. I think I'd known him. I known him for a few years. He was just gutted for me, I think.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit in denial. I kind of like left and walked over to the club, and like, although I'd found out, I was kind of like, surely not. Like, and then.
Because you would have been measuring it against your last ACL going, well, I didn't.
Yeah, exactly. Like it wasn't as painful. Like I was still like walking around on it. And I'll kind of walk back to the club. And as I was walking back to the club, like the physio was standing at the door waiting for me.
Oh, fuck.
And he kind of like, mate, his eyes were almost like welting up. And I was just like, oh, no way.
Shit.
And that was where it really like kind of sunk in for me. Yeah.
And it's like, it's one thing getting through the first one because it's that youthful, all right, I'm young, it's whatever, it's an injury. But the second one, you know what you're about to go through. You don't have any naivety about how hard it's going to be.
That was tough. That second one was really difficult. And as I said, like I just got to a place where I was really happy. Like I kind of spotted it opened up and I felt like, this is like good opportunity. It's my opportunity to kind of like, I suppose, make a bit of a name for myself. And then, as life does sometimes, throws you curveballs and
What do you reckon you learnt the most in that? Because I know in the third one you said you learn about no more telling myself I'm going to do it. What do you reckon you learned about it? Did you learn you're mentally a bit tougher than you thought you were?
I think honestly that second knee rehab and then for the 2 years following that was a bit of a blur. Like I had, unfortunately, like I came back from that knee, had a shoulder, I subluxed my shoulder.
Yeah.
As I said, like I always worked really hard to get out of rehab and get back to playing footy. And I always managed to do a good job of it. Like always came back on time, always came back fit and strong. But there were just certain things in my life that I said I was going to do, I didn't do. And those 2 years were the same. Like I'd come back, play a couple games, get injured. Come back, play a couple games, get injured, whether that be with the knee, whether that be with the shoulder. I ended up doing a Liz Frank as well.
Oh, bro.
So like as I said, like those from like 2021 to 2022, like that 2 years was just like carnage. Like on the operating table, like 2 or 3 times a year. Just, yeah.
What was the communication like with the Roosters? Because I'm sure at some point you're like, man, they're you're not going to keep me here. Like,
mate, honestly, every time I went into the club, I felt this sense of like embarrassment almost, just embarrassment and guilt, just because they'd put so much time and effort into me, and I just like couldn't give them what they wanted, and it was so hard because like I loved the club so much, and like I knew that like it was reciprocated. I knew they had a lot of care for me, but like at what point do you just go? I wouldn't have blamed them for that at all. Like, 'cause I understood the situation, but they just never turned their back on me. They just stuck solid. Like even up until, and I remember sitting with Robbo after one. I just had my shoulder, and he kind of had said to me, he said, "Oh mate, you know what? If it was your knee, if it was your third knee, then I'd be worried, but." You know, shoulders you can come back from, you back this year, and I was like, oh, okay, that's optimistic. And then I ended up doing my third knee. Oh. And I remember in the showers being like, well, this is like rock bottom for me. Eh?
Yeah. Far out.
And that's what I said, that's where it all kind of changed for me.
Yeah, wow. So it was 22, the knee, in the
2020,
2022.
And midway through 22, I done my third.
Yeah, far out. What do you, because it's a bit of a blur, but like, when do you reckon was rock bottom where you were like, not only am I worried that they're going to get rid of me, but like maybe I just stopped playing footy?
Yeah, I think that was probably the first time in my life I'd probably thought to myself, I don't know if this is for me. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
One, I don't know if I could like the face, like staring down the barrel of 9 more months on the sideline and like another operation and everything that comes with that. I was just like, I don't know if I can do this again. But then, you know, as you do, you kind of, you like sit on it for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, and then you kind of get on with it. But I remember after that third one saying like, I remember once I kind of come to terms with the fact that this is what's going to happen, like you're going to have to get another reconstruction, you're going to have to do this and that. I remember telling myself like, all right, well, this time's going to be different.
Yeah, okay.
I remember making a promise to myself like, you're going to do things differently. And then let's see how we go.
Yeah, okay.
So I suppose after that, after I kind of made that promise to myself and I made that decision, it was like, all right, like it was almost a little bit of optimism and excitement because I literally changed everything that I did in my life.
Yeah, wow.
And so that almost gave me like a bit of newfound energy and newfound optimism because I started to see like my body change, my mental state change a little bit, and yeah, that's where it kind of shifted.
So who did you get in regards to, because when you say you change everything, I'm sure you mean everything from like how you're sleeping, what goes into your body, not just anything goes into your body. Like who'd you speak to about that to help you with that?
I spoke to a few people. A lot of the guys at the club are pretty switched on with it, but Anthony Minicello was a big one.
No, that's funny. I was going to say Mini, but I was like, that's too random. Like, did you speak to Anthony Minicello? It's like too random.
No, he reached out to me, I think. And
what a legend,
mate! He was awesome. Like that rehab entirely. Like I was on the blow to him like once a month or like once every few weeks, just saying, mate, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And we catch up, and I'm still like in touch with Minzy. He's such a good man. He was so helpful for me because I was so naive to it all. Like I didn't know what was good for you. Like I didn't know like having bread inflammation. Like I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
And so like speaking to him and like hearing him out and just like sending him my dinners, saying like, mate, what do you reckon of this? Like, and he was just like, he didn't have to do that. Like, you know, he's Anthony Minicello. He's like
one of the goats.
Yeah, one of the goats. And he's but for him to just like lend a helping hand and support and just him like bouncing like ideas and how I'm feeling, you know what I mean? Because that's a guy who's lived it.
Mate, he was ahead of his time by like so many years. He was one of the first professional league players, at least. I don't know about other sports, but to really introduce like a far deeper knowledge of your connection to food and rehab and balancing out your body. And so that's why when you said you change everything, I was like, I wonder if he spoke to Minnie. But then I was like, very weird to just go, did you speak to Anthony? So in regards to your daily routine, I'm assuming it went from waking up, okay, what's my schedule that they've given me? I rock up, I do it. I eat whatever's kind of in front of me because I'm assuming your metabolism is pretty decent. Did it change from that to I'm researching what I'm eating, all that kind of stuff every single day? I'm seeing how many hours I sleep each night. Is that what changed?
Yeah. I just became meticulous with it. Like I just I made sure every meal was good. Like I stopped eating. Man, I used to
processed food and all that kind of stuff.
The boys pay me out about this, but I used to go to the cafe every morning and get an eggs Benedict for brekkie. And like now I realise how ridiculous that is, because like I was walking around looking like Nate Diaz. I was that sloppy fat. And so yeah, I just changed everything. Like what I ate, what I drank,
like raw organic foods rather than processed stuff.
Yeah. Like I stopped drinking alcohol. I started doing Pilates, which is I said I was going to do for years, but never ended up doing.
Yeah, which is so good for your body strength.
Mate, yeah, it sounds a bit stupid, but like I love it. Like I like if I don't do it in a week, like I'll
feel all tight.
A little bit. So yeah, like just a whole bunch of different things that I said I was going to do but hadn't done. I started to do.
Yeah, okay.
And I started to see the difference.
Yeah, because I'm assuming when you like stretch your muscles and strengthen them at length, it's going to help your body be much more balanced with Pilates, making them strong in the stretch kind of pose kind of thing.
Yeah, and like given all my injuries as well, like there was such an imbalance in my body. Like everything was like relying on different things because of all the injuries, and just to find a bit of balance back in my body, I felt like that was probably the best thing that Pilates did. It woke up muscles and things that hadn't been woken in a few years since I had the operation. And so I learned a lot from that third knee.
Mate, you know how crazy is this? There's recent research, and actually Matty Johns tipped me up to this, that suggests that soccer players that got their teeth done are like doing their hammies or whatever because it's connected to the nerves in the back of your neck, which is unbalancing your body. I don't know, like it's like really recent research.
What, is it like veneers?
I think so, yeah, because it's like unbalancing something so tiny that unbalances.
Really?
And then, I mean, you could probably speak to Minnie because he's probably up on that. But like, you would be surprised at how much a little change here can make an effect down in your hamstring or your quad or your groin.
Yeah.
The amount of times where a player will do his left hammy and his right groin will go later in the year because of the compensation. It's because the balance, like your whole body is out of balance.
Yeah.
That's what Pilates is so good at. It balances everything.
That's what I learned. Like I first and foremost learned how weak I was. Like
absolutely.
On a foundational level.
Yeah.
Which for me was like, oh my goodness, I got a long way to go. But sure enough, week by week, as you just keep going, I learned to love it, and I learned how important it was for like my week in, week out, like rugby.
Do you a bit of a weird question, but like in that third Rico, did you find a bit of inner peace, kind of?
Yeah.
Funnily enough,
it's funny. Like that's, as I said to you, like that's probably my whole mental state shifted. It went from feeling like, oh, I hope I don't get injured again, to like whatever sort of thing. Not whatever, but like what will be sort of thing. Like as long as I'm ticking every box on my end, like life will happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think for me, that was like almost like a weight off my shoulders.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I wasn't living my life in fear anymore. I was living my life like, oh, I'm going to do all I can. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Tatey actually, when I was a young fellow at the Warriors, he said the same thing. Where control what you can control, everything out of your control, it's not even worth thinking about because it's how you control.
Yeah, I mean, like my brother was awesome for me in that as well. Like he just said to me, like, you just leave every stone unturned. Do that, and then like live your life free and easy. And
absolutely.
And so
how was your family through this all? Because they would have been your number one cheerleaders. That like truly the one people that believe no matter what kind of thing.
Yeah, they were awesome. I mean, like I got a big family. I'm one of five, and I got my mum and dad and stuff like that. But
what's your heritage?
English.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm an Englishman.
Okay. A little bit Italian, but
I know. They were awesome. I mean, it's kind of good. Like I got a bit of a diverse family. Like I've got two older brothers. One who like loves his footy, loves his sport, loves his training. The other one who like couldn't care less about rugby at all. Like if I say, mate, do you want to come watch the game this week? He's like, what game? Which is awesome. I've got two little sisters who are kind of like cheerleaders as well. And then like my mum's got no idea about it as well. She's just like, oh, like you're the best player on the field today, darling. Like, all sort of stuff. My mum actually played awfully, but all right. And then my dad's just like, cool as I just doesn't. How did I go? Yeah, you're all right, mate. Like, so like I got a real good balance there.
Absolutely.
And they're awesome. They keep me grounded. They were really helpful for me in the way that like especially like my mum, like when all these bad things had happened to me with injuries, she was really good in just saying that like, although this is really hard, like you've got to find perspective in this. Like, although that what I was going through was really difficult and like she understood that, she's like, there are people out there in way worse situations than you're in. Like, although you might have bad history with like your injuries or like you're going through a tough time with your knee or whatever it was, like there are kids out there starving or kids out there who don't have a home or so just like, and for me that was really important. Like that made me realize like life's a lot bigger than rugby.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where I kind of started to dive into like the charity work and all that sort of stuff, because I realized how important it is, like in not only like in helping, but also like for yourself.
It's funny how like, and it's not selfish, but it actually sometimes gives more to the person giving than the person receiving sometimes.
For me, it was massive because it just taught me that like there's a life outside of rugby, and it's like, I'm very, very lucky to be to be doing what I do. And although like it's been tough and there's been some dark times, like in reality, like I still have a great family. I still have a great group of mates. I still live in a beautiful part of the world.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people can't say that.
Yeah.
And that was another thing in those last few years that I kind of realized.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd love to get into charity stuff you do, but first of all, I want to talk about the return, and like you fractured your jaw in the elimination final, but the return in 2023, what was that like for you?
Yeah, it was good because it's like, all right, well, like if you make sacrifices and you work hard and you change things, like good things will happen.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like a really good like reminder of like, oh, you're on the right track.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was good. Like again, like just playing week in, week out footy, I was loving it.
Did you feel just so much better on the field?
Yeah, I did. Obviously, after the first 2 weeks, you struggle a little bit, but then like you find your groove a little bit, and you start to like, probably the first time in my career where like I started to feel comfortable in first grade. I think over the last, like before then, like I was just like in and out and like in rehab and like coming out of rehab and like, it was probably the first time in my career, as I said, like I felt comfortable in the team. I felt comfortable playing first grade, and it was an enjoyable year.
And so you essentially played the whole year, but then you get in 2023 elimination final, and there was actually a bunch of years that bloody went down in this.
Yeah, it was carnage at Shark Park.
Oh my God. It was one of the best. The thing with the Roosters that you can't deny is that you guys have had some of the grittiest wins over the last few years. Like there's quite a few of them, but this one was crazy. Manu went off. Did Teddy get sin-binned?
Teddy got sin-binned. Sue went off with a HIA. Oh man, it was carnage.
And so Sharks are like red hot as well. Walk us through that game.
It was my first finals game.
Yeah, okay.
And as I said, like it's been a really good year. We just knocked off the Bunnies in round 27.
I tell him
Bunnies fan.
Yeah. Mate, he's got a Bunnies tattoo. He's got a Bunnies tattoo. He's been there the whole time. Talking about how great of an organisation the Roosters are. And
he's supposed to like get this bloke off the podcast. We were in a really good spot. Like I think we run like 5 or 6 on the trot.
That's where you went on that run, I think.
We're coming like 14th, I think, with like 6 to 7 to go, and we just all of a sudden just won 6, 7 games, and it was just like you're in the finals. And so it was awesome. Like there was so much momentum heading into the game, and like we knew we were versing a good Sharks team, but we were also like full of confidence as a team ourselves. And as you said, like it was just carnage from the get. Like Joey was coming back from a hammy. He'd done a few weeks before, and I think he probably was a little bit premature, but like he'd done enough to get through. And he obviously went off after 30 minutes or something. And then Sue came off with a HIA. And so we're kind of sitting there at halftime. I think it was nil. I don't even know what the score was. I think it may have been like 6-all, or they may have been up 6-0 or something like that. And I was like, we've got a bit of work to do. And then I got moved to the wing, and Angus got moved to the centres because they were just trying to adjust. And I remember I got hit in a tackle like 5 minutes into the second half. And it kind of sparked me, but it also like, I felt something like move in my jaw. And I never had a jaw issue at all. And I was kind of like, it just felt weird. And I was rubbing my mouth, I tried to bite down on my mouth, but I couldn't because this felt like it was moving every time I did it. And it just felt rank, to be honest. Yeah. And I remember saying to the physio, like, I feel like it's moving. Every time I like shake my head, it moves. And he's like, I think it's just your tooth or something like that. I was like, sweet, whatever. And then it ended up, I played the game, and I kind of knew that something wasn't right, to be honest. So I ended up finishing the game, and we got an awesome win.
So you played most of that with a broken jaw.
Adrenaline just takes over, and like I knew that like I couldn't afford to go off. We were just like,
could you talk at all, or was it a bit?
I could talk, but it just felt like every time I like did anything like
Moved.
like made a tackle, like my jaw would just like. It's probably a good thing that I moved out to the wing, to be honest. I didn't have to.
Oh, come on, mate.
Have to make
wingers do tackles sometimes. Come on,
I
brother.
had to make half the tackles, and I just kind of like the carries. I remember just thinking like, I remember thinking, I don't think this is right, but we'll just see how we go.
So you obviously get a broken jaw, but I'm assuming you're going, 4 to 6 weeks? That's nothing. I'm pretty sweet.
I think even quicker than that. I was hoping if we had to beat the Storm, I was hoping to play the next week. But
wow.
Didn't
happen,
to be, unfortunately.
Wow. And so in 2024, you spent most of the year in Resis?
No, I ended up. I had a really good preseason, 23-24. As I said, I'd just been fit for a whole year and done the entire preseason. Didn't miss a session.
Yeah.
And then about 2 days out from our Vegas game, we're over in Vegas. I like pinched my hammy.
Oh, okay.
And then, I obviously had to miss the Vegas game, and it wasn't a bad hammy. It was a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, given our side was so stacked on me, he'd just come to the club.
Yeah.
So, like, back to Reggie's sort of thing, like round 3 or something. So if you miss a couple games there, like, you lose your spot.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then that first Reggie's game I played, like, run around like a headless chook to try and get my spot back. And I like jumped up for a ball and rolled on my ankle and like ended up like messing my ankle up pretty badly.
Yeah, wow.
And that kept me out for most of last year.
Yeah, wow. So was it like a grade 3 syndesmosis?
Nah, it wasn't. So I like rolled it like basketballers do, but what happened was like I rolled it so hectically that like it tried to fracture, like completely fracture, but it didn't. And so like I chipped off a bit of cartilage in my ankle, like what's called like your talar dome.
Yeah.
So I've chipped off a bit of cartilage and it like flipped on itself. So like a turtle almost. So I had to operate on that. And at the time I didn't realize, I literally walked off thinking it was a rolled ankle.
Yeah, for sure.
But it just like blew up hectically. And I ended up having to get surgery on it. And he said, it's 2-3 months. And I was like, okay, I'll try to get back in like 6 weeks in. But mate, it ended up being like 5 months.
Yeah, wow.
It was so difficult.
Yeah.
And that kept me out for most of last year, unfortunately. I didn't come back until, I think it was last game of the year.
And so, like, your relationship with Robbo, it must be, I mean, talk about, testing it and, it must be one of the closest relationships player to coach you've got.
Yeah. He's, as I said, like, he's been awesome. He's a mentor of mine. And just, he's kind of like, he's lived all this with me as well.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
As weird as it sounds, like, he rides the highs and lows of it as well. And I know last year was super disappointing for us because at the back end of the preseason, this is strong and as fast as I've felt in my life, to be honest. And I was really ready for a really big year. But as life does, like it throws you curveballs and not everything works out. And it probably taught me a good lesson in that, like, you can do all these things and you can make all these choices, but sometimes it's just not going to work out.
Yeah.
And that was the story of last year, I suppose.
Yeah.
But again, like his support never wavered. I luckily signed a 3-year extension at the start of last year, which kept me at the club for a few years. And not once was he like, "Oh mate, what are you thinking?" It was just like, "Mate, just get yourself right, get yourself back." And made it. I sometimes I struggle to fathom like
the generosity, and the loyalty.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Like there's always like a little bit of guilt involved, but it keeps me really motivated, to be honest with you. To just keep working hard and keep putting in good performances for the Roosters.
Yeah, it's one thing, like, the Roosters don't get enough credit for is like when they're like, they get, there's always the laugh about, the glamour club and the sombrero, all that kind of stuff. But like there's a reason why when people go to that club, they fall in love with it. Like there's a reason. There's a reason. So mate, what about your charity work? So what do you do with your charity work? I'm an ambassador of a charity called Rio's Legacy, which essentially supports and is hoping to build children's hospices. And it actually got announced a couple months ago that they are going to build one, which is awesome. Yeah. So pretty much, I started with the charity in 2017, I want to say. Ryan, who runs a charity, unfortunately his son Rio passed away at 18 months, and now I'm not a father or anything like that, but I know that
that's every parent's worst
Oh,
nightmare.
mate, I got two young kids at the moment, like babies at the moment. Yeah, bro.
So, mate, he went into hospital with his little son at 1 year. He was 1 year old, and he never came home. So, yeah, what the charity is all about is providing for families like in their darkest times. Because what happens when you're at a place where the hospital can't help you anymore, but the child's too sick to go home.
Yeah.
They need to go to a place which is, a children's hospice, and there's only 3 in the country, and it's just not enough.
Yeah.
So Ryan's worked tirelessly along with their whole team over the last 8 years to put themselves in a position now where they've just announced they're going to build another children's hospice.
Wow.
Mounties Care Cottage out at Westmead,
Wow.
which is a huge step for the charity, and it's been awesome. Honestly, it's been awesome to be a part of the journey and to see, it started as a charity where, we'd be going just 4 of us to make a $10,000 donation to the Sydney Children's Hospital to now, they're building a $1 billion hospice.
No way.
So yeah, it's been a good couple of years, and
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to seeing where they can get to.
Mate, what an impact this little one has had.
That's it's called
crazy.
Rio's Legacy, and his son's name was Rio, and it's centered around him and all about him, and it's a special story. But I think the thing that gravitated me towards it was that like it's an issue that no one really wants to speak about because it's a pretty sad thing when a children's die. No one ever
it's literally
wants.
the worst.
Yeah. So, but unfortunately, it's life, and it happens, and these little kids and these families deserve to be looked after in their darkest time, and that's what Rio's Legacy is all about.
Yeah, geez, what an incredible, as it's almost been the underlying theme of chatting to you is league is league. Like that's real adversity.
Yeah.
What an incredible impact, mate. In regards to, got a couple of questions for you. First of all, have you got any hobbies at all?
I love my golf.
Yeah, okay.
Unfortunately, the week in, week out rigors of rugby leagues
Make it hard.
Don't let me play it as much as I'd like to, but I love it. The boys at the club love it too.
Yeah,
we've got a good crew there.
Who's in the crew? Is Sammy Walker go all right with golf?
Sammy Walker can hit the ball well. Teddy, Chatty Townsend.
Chadwick.
He's a goer. He loves it. Mate, there's a big crew of us.
Okay. Who's the best?
Chad. I think Chad's got the lowest handicap.
Yep.
I'd say Chad. Kiri was quite good.
Yeah.
As much as it pains me to say that, he was pretty good. And he.
Who's the biggest hothead that just blows up?
The biggest hothead
gets on tilt.
Rads has got it in him. As we know, I don't know. Jazz was Jazz. Probably Rads.
Okay.
Probably Radley. I mean, some of our young dudes are low key like hotheads.
Hotheads. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you get into like a 30v30 in a pose, you can see them start to see red a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So Hargreaves' legacy is intact then.
Yeah. He left a lasting impression.
Mate, favorite rapper of all time.
Favorite rapper?
If you are a rap man, musician.
I'm not a huge like music guy, but I like Chance.
Okay, Chance the Rapper.
Yeah, I like some of his music.
Didn't he release some terrible album about his missus or something? Some terrible album about his missus?
I don't know. I got no idea.
Okay.
I do.
Okay,
I just like some of his music.
Okay, casual fan. Favorite movie of all time? You're a movie man?
Surely
Rehab sitting and watching a few movies.
Yeah, you're right. There should be some. I've watched some movies in my time. I'm trying to think. I like Draft Day.
Yeah, okay.
That one about what's that actor's name?
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner.
Is it Kevin Costner?
Yeah. The one from Yellowstone. That's probably my favourite movie. That's a good one.
Are you an NFL man?
NBA.
Yeah.
So it's actually the free agency just started today. So I'm on my
Who's your
Instagram.
team?
I'm Golden State.
And
promise I'm not a bandwagon either.
No. Oh my God, bro.
I'm a day one. Went to the reason why is because I've only ever been to one NBA game. And that was a Golden State game.
What year?
2000 2000 far out. I want to say.
I know, bro. 2000 bandwagon chat.
Nah. This is when I don't know they want a comp yet. I'm not too sure. Anyway, that's why I'm Golden State man.
Is Curry the GOAT or what?
Yeah, he's the man.
So where would you rate him in regards to out of greatest of all time? Obviously, you got Jordan, LeBron that everyone argues about.
I put him up there, and I know I'm biased, but I'll put him up there. I just think he's
Is he the best street shooter of all time?
Yeah, he is definitely. That's without a doubt. But even just the way people play basketball these days, people are pulling up from half court, shooting shots because
He did that.
Steph did it, you know.
Mate, some of those viral videos of him warming up and that, where you're just like, bro, how's that happening?
Yeah, I went and watched them play actually a couple of years ago again, and we're like, I was lucky the Roosters had a bit of a connection, and I got to sit courtside and watch him warm up.
No way.
And just watching him do his thing, was just like mind blowing.
Yeah, old Nicky, Uncle Nick.
Yeah.
Uncle Nick.
Got connections everywhere.
Wow, that's okay. Listen, I'm not going to ask you whose stadium Allianz is. I'm not going to ask you that, mate. So I don't want to put you in that situation. No, all jokes aside. Mate, thank you so much for coming on, brother. I really appreciate it. And what an incredible journey, bro. What an incredible journey. And so in regards, is there any way people can donate or anything to the charity, or is it more government side?
No. There's a link in my Instagram bio and stuff like that.
Okay. We'll grab it and we'll put it on the potty and that.
Yeah, mad, sweet.
Yeah, awesome.
I mean, as I said, they're doing some pretty cool things, so any support's good support.
Awesome, bro. Mate, congratulations on getting back to it, and I can't wait to see you play for the rest of the year.
Cheers, guys. Thank you. Appreciate
Boom.
it.